Yo, what's good YouTube? Zamcrow here, aka Scoop, back with the Pokemon Battle Federation, Season 4, Week number 4 against the Houston Rotoms, coached by Nozzermat. We are 1-2 going into the battle, and he is also 1-2. Let me double check that real quick. Yeah, he is 1-2 going into the battle, as we're going 1-2 into the battle. We're both coming off our first wins, and we're looking to continue the mini streak here. That being said, we'll just go ahead and hop into both teams here. He has Mega Medicham, Heatran, Diggersby, Tangrowth, Kyurem, Escavalier, Raichu, Togekiss, Nihilego, Vaporeon, and Alolan Persian. Very, very, very threatening, especially Mega Medicham, especially Diggersby, especially Kyurem, Togekiss, Raichu, and Nihilego are all threats in their own right versus my team. Maybe not necessarily against other teams, but against my team, they're very, very threatening. Now, I feel like he has the team matchup. Let me go over my team real quick. I have Mega Pinsir, Manaphy, Nidoqueen, Emboar, Donphan, Cofagrigus, Steelix, Mew, Hydreigon, Electros, and Miltank. And as you can see on screen, I bring Cofagrigus, Electros, Donphan, Nidoqueen, Mega Pinsir, and Manaphy. Going to quickly go over my team here. I do have the defensive core of Cofagrigus, Electros, and Donphan. Cofagrigus is mostly defensive with just a little Spadef, and then Electros and Donphan are both very max Spadef. I'll go over why in a second. Cofagrigus here, my boy Grim, has Toxic Spikes and Hex. Pretty self-explanatory there. And then what's not self-explanatory is actually have the Custat Berry. I have the move, or the I guess it's a move. Yeah, it's a move. I mean, it's technically a move, but I'm not really attacking. I have Endure and Destiny Bond. Basically, he has a lot of threats. Like I was saying, Diggersby, Kyurem, Raichu, Togekiss, Nihilego, all, even Heatran, all potential Scarfers versus my team, which can really, really hurt me. And Endure is there so I can, if I'm low, if I'm not in Custap range, I can use Endure, knowing that when he attacks me, I will end up in Custap range. And then once I'm in Custap range and he attacks me again and I hit Destiny Bond, he will go down with me. So that's the plan there. Next up is Electros. Very interesting set here. Max Spadef, max HP, like I said. But I have 2 switch initiative moves, U-turn and Volt Switch. U-turn there so I don't give Raichu the special attack boost. Knockoff there to get rid of items. T-Wave there to Thunder Wave. Of course, paralysis is a thing. Yellow Magic. Hello. Yeah, so it's pretty good. It's a pretty good check to Scarf Kiss. It's a pretty good check to any potential Scarfers being able to T-Wave them and then getting rid of their item afterwards, so that if he does have Heal Bell later on in the match on Togekiss or Vaporeon, that's still a thing. Also, very good against Nihilego, good against Tangrowth. Just really, really good against this entire team, in my opinion. That being said, we'll move on to my next mon, Donphan, my boy. Specifically here for Nihilego. I know he didn't bring it, so it becomes more of a Togekiss Raichu answer. Earthquake, Knockoff, Toxic, and Rapid Spin. Rapid Spin to get rid of rocks and Toxic Spikes. Potentially Spikes. I'm not sure if Nihilego gets Spikes or not, but of course he doesn't even bring Nihilego, so all I have to worry about this match are potentially rocks. That being said, I do have Toxic for the only mon on his team that I cannot hit, which is the Togekiss, as well as Knockoff for everything else, and Earthquake for everything else. Specifically, and most certainly, the Raichu and the Heatran. So that's my defensive core, which is what I built first because his team was so threatening. And then I'll get into my offense, which starts off with a Life Orb, Sheer Force, Nidoqueen. Not max speed, but enough speed to outspeed a... I'm timid nature with enough speed to outspeed Adamant Diggersby. And then max special attack, dump the rest in HP and a little in Spadef, just because I didn't need it anywhere else. 3 attack moves, Sludge Wave, Earth Power, and Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt specifically for Vaporeon if it's out of range of my other 2 moves. And then the other 2 moves just wreck the rest of his team, just wrecks him, except for the Kyurem, obviously. It could be Bulk, it could be AV, it could be max HP sub roost or something. And then, of course, I do need a rocker on my team, and that's going to be my Niddle Queen, because I feel like I can force out a few things and put rocks up. Can force out the Heatran, can force out the Togekiss, can force out the Raichu. And that being said, we'll move on to the next mon, which is Mega Pinsir. Pretty standard set here. Just enough speed to outspeed Nihilego, as long as it's not Scarf, max Jolly, and max attack, and then 16 HP EVs. Just because that my HP is really low compared to my defense and my SPDF. Swords Dance, Frustration, Quick Attack, and Close Combat. Now I meant to run Earthquake, but because of Nihilego, but he doesn't even bring Nihilego, so accidentally having Close Combat actually is beneficial. So there's that. Next up we have Manaphy, my boy Manaphy here. Tail Glow, Surf, Ice Beam, and Energy Ball. I think Bash is going to put into work this week. Pretty standard set here. Very bulky, 200 EVs in HP. Allows me to live a lot of hits. Mostly anything that's not from Raichu. And then max speed to speed tie with Mega Metachin, which he did not bring. And then dump the rest in special attack because I didn't need it in SPDF or defense. So that being said, we can go ahead and hop into the battle here. And I'm going to lead with Electros, just because, oops, sorry about that. I'm going to lead Electros here because I can just knock off or Thunder Wave. And he does lead Kyurem, so I'm going to go straight for the Thunder Wave. And then I'm going to knock off next. Unfortunately, he gets full parried here on turn 2. But it doesn't really matter, other than I have more HP than I would have when I eventually do U-turn out here. Unfortunately, I get a crit knockoff, and I'm actually going to get a crit Volt Switch here too, so very unfortunate for him. No matter what though, Close Combat was a knockout here, whereas Frustration was a roll, even without the crits, but Close Combat killed even without the crits. So, and Close Combat's 100% my play here, because if he's max HP, max defense, he actually lives the Frustration. Or potentially lives the Frustration. It's a roll, and it's not something I'm willing to risk, as he can knock out my Mega Pinsir. I'm going to go for the Close Combat. It's pretty safe here. And, yeah, I do get the knockout there. And now he's able to bring in, I believe, Raichu. And he's going to force me out. I'm going to go back into my Electro. It's pretty weak in here, so I don't really need it. He goes for the Surf. Does about 20%, 18 to be specific. And he's not going to be able to hit Kami, so he's going to Volt Switch out here. Showing me he's not choice locked, which is actually pretty good, because I know he can't hurt my Donphan or my Niddle Queen from full. I mean, he can hurt him, but he can't kill him. Get a knockoff on the Vaporeon, which is very huge, as you'll see that in the late game. And he is able to take out my Electros. No big deal here. I misclick going to Donphan. What's a Donphan going to do to a Vaporeon? So I'm going to hard switch back into my Manaphy, what I meant to go into to begin with, as he goes for the Scald. It kind of worked out for me, because if it looked like I was baiting a burn, so I couldn't be T-Waved or Toxic later in the match. But he doesn't get the burn. But it kind of looked like I did it on purpose, but I didn't at all. And I'm going to Tail Glow up here, knowing that I can set up on this and knock it out. And he actually baton passes out into Togekiss. Very good. I know if he's bulky, he can't. I can't knock him out. And I know if he's Choice Scarf, Air Slash, that I don't want to even try to stay in here, because getting flinched down is not on my to-do list. That being said, I will hard switch out into my Donphan. Can throw off a Toxic here and potentially poison this thing. He's going to hard switch into Heatran. Very ballsy play here. And I do get my leftovers back, which is actually kind of important here, because it puts me out of a roll here. If he's Specs Overheat, I live. If he is Power Herb Solar Beam, I live. And this is 100%. Otherwise, it's a roll. And he goes for the Solar Beam here. And as you see, I take 68%. And it's doesn't kill me. He got a low roll, no lie. If he's max special attack, that is. Modest. But I am able to knock him out there. He brings Raichu in. I don't want it to get an easy kill, and I want to save it for sack fodder later in the match. And I want Cofagrigus to 100% be in cut-step range when I need it to be. So I'm going to hard switch out and let the Raichu go for Surf and the Volt Switch as I go for the Toxic Spikes, and he brings in the Alolan Persian. Here I'm going to hard switch into my Donphan to just sack it off. And if he goes in for the parting shot, I actually get initiative as this is still a sack. And what that mean? Well, what I mean by that, by me getting initiative, is if he revenge kills me with Raichu, I can go into Nidoqueen. If he revenge kills me with Togekiss, I can go into Cofagrigus for the D-Bond. Excuse me. So there's that. He will be able to take me out here. But I do have my Toxic Spikes up, and potentially am able later to get my Rocks up, which is big. He goes for the Air Slash. He does get the flinch. And here's another play where I misclick. I click Endure here, but I'm able to cancel it and click Destiny Bond since I'm already in cut step range. I had a brain fart, but then it clicked right back as soon as I clicked it. I was like, wait, fuck. Sorry. Got a little carried away. I do click Destiny Bond here, and I'm able to take out a max HP, 100% Togekiss. Really, really good for me. And he is completely shocked now. He said he's in the chat. He's like, ... what's up? So, there's that. Here I bring in Nidoqueen, since Raichu actually beats my other two mons. I had to bring in my Nidoqueen. And I'm just going to set up Rocks. Potentially going for Earth Power was the better play, or Sludge Wave. But knowing that he could go for the parting shot, I'm just going to set up Rocks since my special attack will be dropped. And then I can hard switch into Manaphy on the Vaporeon, and I can stay in and just click Earth Power on the Raichu. And all of his mons are getting toxic now. He does straight up go for the Baton Pass again as a hard switch into Manaphy. Good play on his part. But what isn't, in my opinion, I'm very confused why he goes into Alolan Persian instead of Raichu. Because he could force me out otherwise. And here he actually just gets beat 1v1 as Surf plus Toxic pops his Wiki Berry. So he's actually able to get back to above half HP. So I'm going to set up a Tailglow here to force in Raichu after this. I know it's probably his optimal play anyway, and Tailglow is probably suboptimal for me, but I wanted to guarantee force in Raichu, as well as guarantee the knockout on the Persian. I'm going to let him knock me out here, and then go straight into my Nidoqueen, either force him out and 2-hit KO the Vaporeon, or he just dies anyway. He reveals the tech, Magnet Rise, meaning I can't hit him with Earth Power. But I do have Sludge Wave, which after toxic damage is going to be able to knock him out anyway. Really, really good for me, because Surf isn't going to be able to knock me out. I do have quite a bit of HP investment. Not like a lot. I have 72 HP EVs and 4 SPDF EVs, so I 100% live that. It wasn't a roll, if that's what like people may think or something. I'm able to 1v1 the Vaporeon here since it is toxic, or poisoned, I should say, from the Toxic Spikes. He's not going to be able to Wish Protect. My optimal play here would be Thunderbolt. I'm not sure why I didn't click it, but Cofagrigus is going to be able to pick up the kill there with the poison, and that's going to be week number 4 of the Pokemon Battle Federation, and we move to 2-2 with a +1 differential. Good game, Nozzermat. It was very fun. Your team was very threatening. Hope we play again maybe later in the season, playoffs or something. I know we're both not doing the best right now, but we can bounce back. We seem to have great teams with potential. That being said, leave your comments on our sets, our prep, our mons we didn't bring, what you would have did differently. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already. And check in next week for our match against Chicago Ursaring. Looks to be another good match against two struggling teams where where one of us looks to try to get another win. We'll be looking for our third straight win next week against our buddy Slow Formula, and that's that. So I guess I'll quit rambling now, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.